What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, RAF ESPARZA, coming to you with another great installment of the Bullpen, your weekly topical series where we take on some of the biggest issues that the comment section cannot handle. And believe me, we're reading them. They cannot handle this. They're losing their minds, almost as much as Gordon is losing his mind currently, trying to remind you that ADCC is still a thing. Could be, probably will be, but acting suspiciously unnerved. We'll get to more of that in a second. But first, we want to say a few things. If you're watching this and you tune in with us on a regular occasion, thank you so much. We wanted to make the announcement, which is our good friend Jake Watson is going to be taking a little bit of a sabbatical. And as a result of that, we're going to be inviting some guest hosts over the next few weeks. They'll be joining myself and longtime stalwart and friend of the show, one Tim Freeman, who we will now go to and say hello to. Tim, how are you doing, sir?
What's up, man? I'm glad to be back, Raf. I can't wait. I know I say this every week, but there's so much fantastic stuff happening in the world of jiu-jitsu. And we're also joined by the Office 7 handsome Kevin Sherrill. I can't wait to mix it up with him today and get his thoughts on what's going on in the world of professional grappling.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned that. Yes, the Office 7, Kevin Sherrill joins us live today. I had forgotten about calling him an Office 7, but when I asked Kevin if he knew or was familiar with Tim, his answer was a very emphatic, I know Tim. So, Kevin, have you held resentment about being an Office 7?
Nah, man. I'm just happy I can come on the show and bring the average up.
I mean, you say that, but you're not wearing this shirt. Like, look over at this shirt and try your answer again, sir.
He do got that shit on. That's fair.
Got that shit on. Yes, you're coming to us with the most Atlanta speak there is possible. So we appreciate you, sir. Kevin, there are a lot of people we could call. We decided to start with the person with handsome in their name. So as a result of that, what does it feel like to be the first guest host of our summer sabbatical for this season, sir?
Feels fantastic, man. Feels right. Very much so. Like, unfortunate. I'm not replacing Tim. I can't believe that guy still has a job off the crazy take he had. But it's all right. We're getting a foot in the door, and then eventually I'll take his job, and then maybe Raf's. We'll see. Good
luck taking my job. Like, I almost invite everybody to try and take my job. I am unfortunately the one indisposable character because I do all the stuff that nobody wants to do, like set up the board. Yeah, and look at this. Look, you have a name placard there because I was so committed to it. But I want you to remember one thing, Kevin. As feisty and as funny as you want to be, this shit can change very quickly. So as you may notice here, it is a temporary Band-Aid that I have on here. And yes, we will be bringing on other friends throughout the summer, but we wanted to start with you because, Kevin, I have to say, you are somebody who has had a pretty good sense of humor, all things considered, about what we've said. But you were also on the other side of the world on PGF, which meant you were on the athlete side. So was there anything from your interpretation that we said about you or other people that you thought maybe crossed the line or maybe got a little bit under the skin of the athlete perspective?
I honestly didn't put too much emphasis. Yeah, I like Raf's having to move this thing around. I tend to fidget. I'm not going to stop. I tend to not focus on what gets under those guys' skin for the most part. There's a couple guys that are like really good sports, and then we know the ones who aren't. And I just try to profit off of it, you know.
I will
try to not worry.
I will say it was very odd when you did show up and Elijah was like, yo, why am I not on there? Or why are you talking to him? And I was like, well, you're not here. Like, you were booked, and then Kevin showed up, and I was like, well, we'll talk to him. He's here. Yeah. So I'm just saying, we are not a discriminatory group. We just kind of saw things as they happen. Live shows are a different beast because you also were there to give us the breaking news that, yes, at that point, Max Hansen had just gotten into a brawl, and all of us were like, wait, what? And that was emphatic to me because Max had no problem being like, yeah, man, you missed it. Got into a brawl. Did you not see it? And I'm like, how would I see it? I'm right here, dude. So you definitely did breaking news for us.
Max is a character, man. Yeah, I will say there needs to be some sort of media presence backstage. You can't have a camera because then everyone's on their best behavior. But you need a spotter. You need the kid on the end of the block that's going to tell you when something's about to happen, and he can.
We need a mole
and get the camera. Yeah. You guys need a mole.
Yeah. Well, you're looking for a job, right? That sounds like a job for a rat.
I would love to be a professional snitch on the athletes of the PBF. That's a golden job.
Well, it sounds like you got the job, my man.
Just a tea spiller. Just come by and yo, do you hear that shit that just happened? That's crazy.
I do think it is pretty remarkable that you're always finding the extra gig that you're doing, because I like that in between 6 and 7, you're like, how do I get back on the PGF? I know. I will be a snitch now. So I don't know. I mean, I haven't pitched my team for season 7 yet, but it is possible I could ask BMAC if there is a possibility for insider, not a PGF insider. Very different show. And by the way, I think one time with Egghead, I made mention because Jake was mentioning that he was going to get on that show. And I was like, oh, and I rolled my eyes because Jake was bragging that he was going to get brought on first. And Egghead's like, what is this disrespect to the PGF insiders? I was like, first of all, I love those guys. Second of all, I'm rolling my eyes because he's trying to make it as who appears first a competition. When in actuality, if I wanted to, I would call them up and be like, put me on before them. And you know what? They might just do that. I'm not saying they would. I'm just saying there's a good chance they might. So
it would be really funny if you just slip in at the intro. You just have the Wallow does say what's up to the people. What's up to the people? And they just say what's up to the people, and it goes to you first. And then you get involved.
It would, that's the other thing is I try to tell people I'm not always trying to take everybody's job, but I am suitable at doing everybody's job. I just don't want to make it seem like the camera goes on me and goes, hey, what's up, fuckers? It's me again. That's right. I'm hosting all the shows. Give me theirs too. Nah, man, I love them. And see, you can see here, Wallow J, he's showing up for you. He says, my boy handsome AF, let's go. So he wants you to be loved. And yes, even Jake is in the comments and said, are you reading them though? Meaning, are we reading the comments? Well, some of us are, yes. I don't know. It is kind of part of the assignment, Jake. If you'll remember, we have a part called gallery, which means we're supposed to be reading through. And man, did we pick some good galleries for you. But it says, Kevin is a bullpen 3 after that slander. My goodness. So I'm just saying, I don't know that you're dropping off anymore here.
That's low. I think you're better than a bullpen 3. I wouldn't even go that low. I wouldn't do that, Kevin.
I like that you two are playing off one another because he came up to me at the PGF and said, listen, when I asked him his opinion, I didn't know he was going to go that way. I donated my time. I didn't know it was going to go that way. I would have never rated you like that. You guys are playing both sides very ineffectively, to be honest.
Well, apparently very effectively because you just staggered over one of your words. But I do like this. Okay, so Jake is trying to up the ante here, and he says, Tim is a bullpen 5 for comparison. But get this. We will 1,000% have you first. He ghosted us. Now, things got very interesting here. And I want to point this out to you, Wallow.
Wow.
even if it was to cameo in first, just so that he wouldn't be able to say he's first, I would do it. But I would 100% be there anytime you guys want me. I'm around, I'm available, but I want to show up to do the show, not to just be there to spite people. What do you think this is, Craig Jones? You think I'm just gonna spite appear as a guest on other people's shows? No, I legitimately, when I show up to be on the show. Much like
I'm blown that you wouldn't do it. That's a great reason to do something.
I mean, you know what the worst part is? Let me bring this up. We aren't even at the board, but I'll get you guys this. One of my favorite arguments that I've seen, because you know these aggregator sites, when they release the news that's basically the same post that you've read 20 different times on your Facebook feed or whatever. And they said, they were quoting Mo from one of his Instagram lives. And so this is such old news, but it made me laugh because I thought of it in a different way this time. And it says, Craig is doing this tournament for all the wrong reasons. And I go, okay, well, all the right reasons still hasn't gotten the paid athletes more money. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all the right reasons didn't get them more money to do ADCC, if that's the case.
I want to know that guy's reasons, what he thinks the right reasons are. Because money seems like a really good reason to do a thing.
Nah, man.
Because you can is another
exposure. How dare you? How dare you even bring that up into this conversation, bro?
Money's not real, dog. Haven't you listened to Terrence Howard? 1 times 1 isn't 1, dude. Your math is all messed up. That's why you care about money, dog. It's about prestige.
Oh, man, this math is real messed up. You don't even know, man. I'm feeling my feels, Joe. Do you feel what I'm saying here? And it's like, bro, I do not think you're okay, Terrence. You were an Oscar-nominated actor. You were great in Hustle and Flow. Just stop, sir.
If you get skeezy with math, that's a tall tale sign that something's not going right in your brain, dude.
So let me point this out. It says, I didn't mean to ghost Wallow. I was just busy.
Boom, 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 boom.
Oh, you know what? Hold on. Oh, man, that's what I need sound effects for. Hold up. Let me see if I still have these sound effects.
He's probably right. He was probably getting his beard
he just
trimmed
fell asleep.
Hold on. There we go. We have something here in the bank. I know I have different things. I do have to get the prices right. Womp, 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 womp. Coming up next. But Joey, this is where I feel things are, I don't want to say crossing the line, but they are heading to different territory. And this comment says, man, Jake looking good today. Oh, wait. Now, Joey, listen, buddy, we have to be nice. Okay. I'm just letting you know. Jake is in the comment section.
Jake is handsome too, though. Like, he's a pretty good
No,
looking.
you guys are all doing it. Brandon just did the same joke.
Yeah. It's
You
Brandon.
guys are ruthless in the chat today. I'm just telling you that.
Yeah, boy.
I was trying to throw.
I was trying to throw Jake a lifeline here, and Brandon just came in and cut it in half.
The worst part is with BMAC, it's a little more syrupy. So it's like, oh gosh, I said something real controversial, but I didn't I?
I thought that was Jake. I didn't have my glasses on. I had my sunglasses on inside. Like T-Ferg. I tripped in my kitchen.
For real though, BMAC is the only thing I don't like about him wearing the glasses in every interview is I see his lighting setup. And the producer in me is always like, make the lights go a little different. I don't mind you wearing the glasses, but if I see your light setup, I do get a little bit like, dog.
When he's got the sunglasses and the hat turned backwards, that's a whole different game you're getting.
That's a different
You're
vibe.
Getting Skeezy McCaffrey right there. Yeah,
Skeezy McCaffrey.
That's Skeezy McCaffrey, man. That's
Skeezy McCaffrey. Yeah, he's definitely the one that meets you outside after class for reasons. But guys, let's get over to the board right now. And I can't, dude, you guys won't let me go. Jake is handsome in a Walmart kind of way. Well, my boy Kev is like Gucci handsome.
Wow. Oh Wallow God. J.
Wow.
Wallow J coming in with the deep analogy. Now I get it. It makes sense. I didn't get it before. Now it makes sense.
Can I this is where I have to be very, very clear. Wallow was going to have Jake on first. this is why you send the I can't make it, I'm sorry note. Because this dude is coming in the comment section and being like, well,
you made Jake
make
cuss.
Yep.
So just
You
saying.
got cut hard, bro.
Jake is coming, dude.
All right, gents, we are going to make our way to the board right now. I'm very stoked about this. And guess what? There's been some news and some releases over the past few days. And of course, everybody is wanting to know what's happening with the Craig Jones Invitational. And it was released just this week that, yes, one, Mikey Musumeci himself, one, Darth Rigatoni, is going to be competing at the Craig Jones Invitational. No, not in the tournament itself, but in a super fight. Against whom? We don't know. So I ask both of you gents, who will Mikey be taking on? Let's start with our guest first. Kevin, who is he going to be taking on, sir?
Papa John.
Okay, why Papa John?
Unlimited lifetime pizza. That's
okay. So when you say Papa John, are you referring to the pizza maker or the actual like owner of Papa John, that dude?
I assumed they were the same person. I'll be honest with you. I assumed he made all the pizzas. Is that not the case?
You know, I'm not sure, but I can tell you this. I've tried never to look at the guy who's the owner and CEO of Papa John's ever on the TV because I never want to put a name to a face of how terrible that pizza is. Like, I have vivid college memories of how garbage that pizza is.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Sorry, Papa John, but I wouldn't want my face to be up there next to that. God.
Hold on. This is the first time I'm ever going to do this. I'm pausing the time.
That's not
I've
nice,
never
man.
had
the boards
to
are
pause the
today.
time on the board, but I am making an exception because of what BMAC just said.
This is a technical foul right here. This is a technical foul.
Oh,
that's what this is. I'm calling a technical foul.
I'm stealing it. I'm going to use that line.
Brandon McCatherine says that Jake looks like the crumbs left at the bottom of the beef jerky package. I've seen low comments. I don't think anybody's ever gone that low in our comment section. Like, it's one thing to say somebody doesn't look handsome. It's another thing to rate them on a scale of handsomeness. I think maybe unacceptable to say they are the bottom barrel of the jerky container.
No, listen, only a man that has eaten a lot of beef jerky in the AM/PM parking lot can actually speak to that. That's how he knows. You know how many of those empty Slim Jim packets he's pulled down and he's looked down that tube and he's like, oh man, just crumbs. I ain't ever going to be like the macho man like this. Elizabeth! Lindsay!
Hold on. BMAC's correcting me, and I was getting around to it because I wanted to go back and get the response. So don't worry, I'm there. And it says, Kevin looking like a whole snack. So I want to point this out. BMAC, I know you think that this predicates this. It does not matter. The order here is no less offensive. Or does it punctuate the joke anymore? Nonetheless, your response to being called a full snack, sir.
It was a wrap.
What does it feel like to be called a full snack while the person who you are covering for is being trashed in the comments, sir?
It feels amazing. It feels fantastic. I'm going to put my handsome belt on. It was I have a story that's all right. I have to do it now. I was going to avoid doing it. Every year for Halloween, I go as a pun, and last year I went as a snack. I was covered in like Hershey's gear and like I had a Hershey's t-shirt and like Doritos shorts and donut socks and all this stuff. I was a snack.
Kevin, I think you make people regret calling you handsome. Like, I think when you do something like that and you appear at a Halloween party, I would look at you and say like, do you have a real costume? I love puns. But I feel like we've gone a little bit too easy on you in the terms of being handsome. Like you're in the bubble excuse does not work at my Halloween party.
Yeah, dude, you're not Brad Pitt handsome, dude.
No, the line between this being a funny joke and it becoming immediately insufferable is razor thin, and I blast through it at like 100.
You know what I
Every
realize
time.
now? You're the part in the Shania Twain song that she's not impressed by. Like, I now
Yeah.
have come full circle on this. Like, Kevin Sherrill is 100% the
Never
new
impressing.
version of. So what? You're Kevin Sherrill. That don't impress me much. That's what we're going to do.
I don't think I even make the song, to be totally honest. She knows she can't put me in the song, or I'll just take that and run with it. You can't give me that much.
All right, I'm going to undo the pause. I'm going to go over to you, Tim. Tim, who is Mikey facing?
Man, I don't know, but Kevin kind of lent his mind to where I was going. I was thinking maybe one of the Mario brothers, or perhaps both. I don't know, man. But listen, this is who I want to see him do a match with. I want to see him do a match with Gio Martinez. I think that match would have some heat. I think there's a little bit of beef there. I think, it's easy for Mikey to find things to be upset about. And I think Gio would love to pony up to that, man. I think he would have no problem with it. He's called out for it. Unless there's someone else in mind, I'd like to see a Gio Martinez, Mikey Musumeci showdown at CJI. I think that would be a dope matchup. But outside of that, man, I don't know. Mikey's riding hard for something, though. Something's going on. I don't know if he's going to the dark side, but something's going on, man. This kid is making some moves and some changes, so it's exciting to watch.
I do find that interesting. Yeah, Low Life just agreed with you. He said, let's get Gio in there. So you aren't alone on that one, sir. I'm in a space where if we're going to give him somebody put this in a comment section or they sent me a DM and they said, I'd love to see him against Marcelo Garcia. And I was like, oh my God, what a great match that would be. I would love to see that. Now, granted, Marcelo has his, health conditions. We want to make sure he's good, but like at a base level, it's great. And he said, that's not even why I want to see it. And I said, why do you want to see it? And he goes, because I'd like to see Mikey say that Marcelo was talking shit about him. And I'm like, oh, yeah, I could never see that. But that would be very fun to have Mikey be like, I didn't appreciate what Marcelo was saying about me, you guys. It was crazy. He got into my DMs and he was telling me that I was not good at jiu-jitsu. And I thought about it and I was like, no, I am. I am very good at jiu-jitsu. Maybe you don't know that. And yet it is very rude for you to do that. And then being like, no, Mikey, he's great. He's beloved. Don't hate him. We love you too. No. And then Mikey would kill me. I think that's the way that would go.
Yeah.
So I don't know, man. You bring up a good point. Gio's built in, and I think Gio wouldn't mind being the bad guy in that situation. Like, Gio is fine being like, make me out to whatever you need me to be, because they've already had their beef together.
Yeah, I think it'd be a great matchup.
Word. I think we're all in agreement there, but I will say this, and Os Nation put this in there, and it says, one, letting guys compete. Let's get UFC to offer Charles Oliveira. So there was this rumor, this belief that one wasn't going to let their athletes compete. And I thought Mikey was the one who was leading and fanning those flames, but it turns out the Rutolos got in and we said, oh no, it's possible. Then all of a sudden Mikey's involved. I am slightly disappointed, not in the main tournament, but I do think 66 is the hardest people to ask to do the under 80. So I do get that, but it does beg the question. Kevin, I'm going to give you one more shot here. Is there anybody else we're not thinking of from Mikey? Is it really Gio? Is it really Marcelo? Or is there anybody else that we're not quite putting at the forefront right now?
I saw a conversation around, there's two names. One is Pato, which would be very interesting. The more interesting one, for me at least, is Demetrius Johnson. See Mighty Mouse step in, take a match with Mikey under. If you give him enough time to prep, I think it would be very interesting to see Mighty Mouse take a match against somebody with such a pure jiu-jitsu style. Like Mikey is one of the best in the world, one of the most dangerous in the world at absolutely a non-MMA skill set. But Demetrius Johnson has shown that he genuinely practices and is skillful at all of the arts. I would love to see. I mean, granted, that's more as a fan of Mighty Mouse. I would love to see him hold up. I don't think he wins, but that would be blow my mind. But I do think it'd be really interesting. One of the most interesting matchups we have in ADCC history is Weidman and Galvo. I found that fascinating.
Yeah.
And was very surprised at how well Weidman did. I think it could be very interesting to see Demetrius Johnson try and approach Mikey Musumeci's guard.
I'm glad you mentioned this, but I believe Demetrius in the past, when they were trying to pair him up at 1FC, was very quick to be like, I don't know, you guys don't have anybody else? You want me? Like, this is not fun for me. And so I think he was being very complimentary, and he's obviously a gamer, and I know he's kidding about it, but it was a very real, like, is nobody else? Nobody?
Yeah.
You don't got anybody else to take this kid on? You gonna look to me? Your MMA GOAT? So I do think that is an interesting thing.
It's a pretty dramatic pay cut for DJ. I don't know what CJI is paying for the super fight, but it's probably not what 1FC is paying DJ.
I mean, it's probably significantly less than what his Twitch is paying him. If anything, that's the real moneymaker for DJ right now, and God bless him for that. Let's go to our next topic, gents. We have a ways to go still, but it does invite, while we're still on the topic of the Craig Jones Invitational, what else should Craig give away? Now, why are we asking this question? Well, listen, there have been great troll moments in jiu-jitsu. I'm hard-pressed to think of a better troll moment than Craig Jones raffling off Gordon Ryan's Miata. I'm sorry, gay Miata. This is very specific about what kind of Miata this is. Raffling off Gordon Ryan's gay Miata, which itself had a storied, long-time presentation to the actual winner of it. I think it was like a year, 2 years away from when it was supposed to be given away. That, like, prize winner won it. Craig got in contact with the guy, bought the Miata, not just any Miata, the Miata from the guy who was previously in a video with Gordon, then appears in a video giving it to Craig. And now I'm just flabbergasted to think, what could ever top that? So with that in mind, I ask you both, and I'll start with you, Tim. What can you possibly do to top that?
You know what Craig could do? He could give away Mo Jassim's soul. His Kia soul. It's slightly used, certified. I don't know, man, dude. That's a really great troll move. And I'm starting to feel like no matter what Gordon does, the counter punch is going to be significantly better from Craig Jones. But how about this? Is there anything in the Kia that was left over? Like, is there a John Danaher manscaping kit maybe? Is there a signed copy of How to Win Friends and Influence People, like Gordon Ryan, like something he could pass on? I'm not really sure, man, but I think that's a pretty gangster move in terms of giving something away. And it's a raffle, and Craig is smart in that he's able to kind of go like, hey, this is for charity. We're giving this money away. I think it's like, what is it? Fight for the Cause or something like that. There's some charity you donate to, and that's how you get entered into the raffle. So it's hard to criticize him for doing it. It's a pretty funny move. I wonder, though, what spurred that guy to make the move and sell it. Like, did he actually make a decent profit on it, or did he just kind of turn dark on Gordon and go like, I'm with Craig now, I want to do this? Or did he just want some internet fame? Because there's that too, right? He's like, I can get back on again. Like, hell yeah. What else? So
I think what happened was, according to reports on the internet, he just drove the Miata and was like, yikes, let me get rid of this real quick.
It was a lemon.
Kevin, what say you?
I think Craig Jones figures out, as the master of silver, figures out how to market hair dye kits for when Gordon had his silver phase. And you just market that exclusively. You can dye that hair silver when Gordon looked like he was like 60 years old. and just match that energy. If you really want, you can get a fear no one and a respect everyone tattoo on your biceps and complete the look. And then just proceed to not respect anyone at all.
That's fair. I'll give you guys my idea on this one, and you can tell me if you think it's good or not. He's already taken so much from Gordon. We got that part. But has he taken anything from Mo? I mean, the athletes, sure. The bongos, yeah. The respect, anyway, it goes on. But Mo's always been very proud of that money sweep that he hit on people, allegedly. We have to say allegedly. We've never seen it. But I wonder if Craig put out an instructional on the money sweep, if there is any way that Mo cannot stop him from doing so. Now, granted, Craig has already put out an instructional called Shit I Stole from John Danaher. Who's to say he couldn't do a here's the money sweep, parenthetical, theoretically, Mo Jassim's sweep that he's hit on people. Because I have to tell you, if I had that much money, I'm pretty sure I'd get 100% of my sweeps too. Allegedly. And it's a very funny thing. Like, I am of the mindset when I have rolled with people and they have let me get away with something that I'm like, damn, that was really nice. They let me sweep them. For whatever reason, when people get in that comment section and Mo's like, actually, yeah, you guys remember when I swept you with that sweep? I'm like, what athlete in their right mind is like, yeah, Mo, I do. You got me real good there, boss. So that's the part that never really clicks for me, knowing how competitive these guys are. So just saying.
Have you ever left a comment on any social media ever? Do you remember when I swept you? Like that's is the most ridiculous you can get right there, man. That's
but he's on a live broadcast, and like it's just weird that he's putting these out continuously, and that I've ingested, because normally when I go to check Mo's Instagram lives, it's for information based knowledge. Like, okay,
yeah,
what happened? What's an update? But you do have to suffer through a lot of chit chat that doesn't quite go up to snuff if you just took it out isolated. And I cannot tell you the amount of times I heard about the money sweep where I was like, you guys have to stop asking or prompting in this question.
Can I tell you how, like, can we all agree on the least real score you can get in like rolling has got to be sweeps? You know how many people just like get tired of being on top and just let you sweep them? Like, that happens a lot, or they fall back on a leg or something like that. If you're counting sweeps as your biggest win, I don't know, man.
I'll point this out. This is something that I do with our guys. So as a huge pro wrestling fan, if I get them into side control and I like get a cradle or like get the leg, I'll literally gimmick pin them. And then if like nobody submitted to each other, I'll be like, I won. I did that. Everybody saw it. I got that 3 count. Like, that's a stupid person thing to do. And yes, I am stupid about that. But like, that's a fun joke between us. If I started every show by being like, hey, Kevin Sherrill, remember that time I got that cradle on you? Even though you let me pass guard, even though you let me sweep you and come up on top? Yeah. Remember that? Take that, dude. Like, it's so funny to me. And yet, it's taking the world's most inside joke and then saying, like, we're going to rinse and repeat. So we did have some comments on this. I do want to go through them very quickly. The first of which said, no way anyone has let that happen. So, yes. And I see a note here from Egghead Warrior that says, wow, second handsomest Kevin. Yikes.
Who's the first?
That's a great question. It's a very good question. Here's the other ones. It says, love this money sweep idea from Low Life. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. So yes, we've had some good friends come through this way, but no way one lets that happen, not on their event. Got you. Yeah. So I think that's in response to DJ and Mikey. They wouldn't let that out of their hands, which very possible. I can't tell you. Yep. Although, guys, bring it inside real quick. I think ONE FC does not have the amount of money that they claim that they do. Like, I think they do business, but I don't know that they should be giving out $50K like every single event. to every single person. And you notice now they're getting a little more tight-lipped because they're like, hey, Rotolo Brothers, mega stars, you got 50K, goddamn. There's 2 of them, right? Shit. Okay. And Mikey, yeah, we promised him 50K too. Shit. Okay.
Jesus.
The other one that says,
jiu-jitsu guys don't usually get paid 50K for a super fight. They might be piecing that together.
well, funny you mentioned that. Craig announced that the bonus is going to be 50K for the best submission at the Craig Jones Invitational. Quick, guys, do some math.
Dope.
How much do you get if you win the super fight?
40K.
For the Craig Jones? Oh.
For 80cc.
Wasn't it 40?
It's 40. Guess what the second place gets?
2,000.
10K. So combined, it's the same purse as if you get the best submission when you've already gotten 10K just to show.
Yeah. Nice. That's a strong move, man.
To me, every time I see this, and I'm not sure that Craig had thought about it, I'm sure he did. I don't know. But when I put it up, I put up the comment that was like, yo, even the purse can't match the bonus. And Craig just put a ha on my stories. And I was like, God damn, dude. Like, this dude is enjoying his life. And thank you, Low Life, for participating. I like that you're in the comment section. Be like, 10, like it's Price is Right. Like, we can hear him being like, lower $1. So,
dude, he's on point. I have no idea because as a high-level jiu-jitsu athlete, money means nothing to me, and I fight for prestige, right, Mo?
Very good. That's the right answer. Well, I think we've gone through that part enough. We're going to go to our next topic, which is, hey, guys, did you know that a Who's Number One happened last week? You might not. But by all accounts, it was very good. And here to lead us off with that, I would like for you, Kevin Sherrill, to tell us your favorite parts or most interesting things that happened at Who's Number One last week, sir.
Yeah, Krellenstein Corbe was the most interesting match for me. I'm going to take off my like entertainer, snarky joke hat and start talking about like as a fan of jiu-jitsu and grappling in general, I was beyond impressed with Krellenstein's performance. I think Corbe's tough as hell. That was awesome. Also, there was a really slick inside trip, counter inside trip off Joseph Chen, and it is terrifying to realize that that man is learning how to wrestle very well, and he's going to be in the sport a long time. That's tough.
Very good stuff. Tim, did anything also pique your fancy from Who's Number One?
Yeah, man. I think Kevin hits it on the head there. Four names: Gracie, Chin, Krellenstein, and Ryan. Those were the big names that popped off to me. Krellenstein looked fantastic against Corbe, and that was one of the matches that I anticipated the most. And like Kevin said, Corbe's no walk in the park, man. He's a very, very tough opponent, and he's getting better. And Krellenstein's top control was just dominant, and he was able to get the decision victory, but it was a dominant out positioning. He just played the game at a super great pace and pressure, and he looked fantastic. The other dude is Jonatas Gracie, who had just absolute control the entire match. Just did a fantastic job against Jacob Couch, who Jacob Couch is always a game competitor, but Gracie just got on top. I don't think he unlocked his hands the entire time. Like, he rode that body lock position the entire time, man. He looked fantastic out there. And then Joseph Chen, the inside look, you see inside trips, but you usually don't see people become airborne on an inside trip. And he literally got Elijah Dorsey off of his feet, and they landed chest to chest onto the mat. It was a very, very dominant performance by Joseph Chen. And not only did he take home the victory at Who's Number One, he turned around a few nights later and beat Andy Varela at Main Character Jiu-Jitsu on overtime points. So this kid is not going anywhere. He's getting better. And I think he's going to have an outstanding run at CJI. And then the other name is Gordon Ryan, man. It's like, dude, it was nice to watch Gordon Ryan. I think anytime he competes, there's still an anticipation for it. It looked like he was trying to get out there and get a quick victory, and he didn't get it. I think he went up against Saunders, right? And it's just, look, the dude, his opponent's size was so much that he couldn't just come out and get a quick win. He had to grapple for a little bit. And again, at the end of the match, he cites stomach issues. I have no idea what that actually means or what the significance of that is, because I thought not long before that he was saying that he had been like healed by it or had done some treatments and changed his diet. But it seems like it's come back. So who knows, man? I don't know, but it was interesting to see him out there. It was kind of out of the blue. Maybe he's trying to get tuned up for ADCC. Who knows? But overall, it was a good night of fights at Who's Number One. I felt like they did not take it as just like a little warm-up thing. They took it pretty for real. They wanted to win. So great performances.
Can I just bring up like a small idea here? And I'll get your feedback on this. Is it a bad idea to put this much investment in Gordon? Now, I know he's wanted to make history before, so they let him do the division, and then they let him do that super fight. Now, it seems like it's super fight, division. And now they're banking on him not just being good for like a match, 2 matches, multiple matches. And you have him in his own social media, on his Instagram, on his stories, trying to put over ADCC and saying, hey guys, this is so much better. It's already sold out. It's not. And that it is going to be a bigger spectacle. And I think they're putting on his shoulders. But I have to say this, and we'll get to it a little bit later, but the thought of him versus Pena is just an odd addition to put on there. If he doesn't have the right stomach or he gets injured, what happens to the rest of that event? And I'm not sure people fully grasp the idea of, if ADCC loses Gordon for any reason, how much does that impact the rest of the show?
Well, if you're unwilling to pay the rest of the roster, it's not a bad idea to stay on Gordon's good side if he's willing to carry your promotion. Seems like a cheap way to do it.
Well, I mean, I'd like to know this. Gordon doesn't come cheap. So it looks like if there's another super fight, are they paying another $40K to Gordon? And then are they paying another $10K to Felipe Pena? So essentially, did they keep Felipe Pena by offering him at least the runner-up $10K from that super fight so that he wouldn't go over to the Craig Jones Invitational? Hold on. I'm saying things that maybe I'm making sense or maybe just speaking out of my ass. But it would seem like Gordon and Pena is a weird thing to put on there for no reason. And that Pena could have easily have gone over and been drafted over the Craig Jones Invitational, not only for reasons, but for a good trolling cause. Well, things are weird. Tim, do you have anything to add on that side?
Yeah, I mean, who knows, dude? Listen, I don't know, but he's like Hulk Hogan trying to carry the whole promotion now. And then then half of the stars, or I would say half of the stars left, and now it's like, okay, dude, can you really carry this? It's got to be burdensome. And I don't know if he took this most recent match because they needed him to carry the card or not, or if it was because he kind of put himself out there looking for a matchup against Ryan Akins, and that didn't happen. And he's like, oh, well, I guess I better do this then. Like, did that happen? I don't know. So
I do like this, though. I do like this. We got a note that says they would rather risk Gordon having GR poop himself on the mat. Drums are expensive. I mean, there's definitely the possibility he could poop himself. I would hope not. I don't really want to see that.
We need the beats, man. Yeah, I don't know, dude.
But the second part of that note is from Lowlife that says maybe Pena versus Yuri if Gordon has bubble guts. That's a good idea. That's a good salvage on that. It's just, it's very strange to put that much on one person. And it comes with such a high risk factor where there's so many words being spouted about this situation that I think they are kind of backing themselves into a corner. So it's
I
not,
think they've
again,
been
ADCC isn't void of talent. It's just, what are we doing structurally? What were you saying, Kevin?
I think they've been backing themselves into this corner for years by kind of burning and fraying relationships. If you look at like a lot of what's been going on with anybody that's not Gordon and a handful of people outside of that camp that I'm sure are on great terms with ADCC. A lot of the athletes are not being treated well. I'm obviously biased because I train with Paul Ordia, who's 5-time trials champ and never gets love from ADCC or Flow. Flo didn't even collaborate on a post on Instagram a couple weeks ago when they put all the posters for who's going to ADCC. They didn't collaborate with him, and it's like a viewership dropped off or whatever. And it's just 1,000 little things where you make a case that like, oh, Mo saying, if you guys want money, fucking go raise it. Da, da, da. All those kind of flippant gestures, they add up, man. At this point, they've got no choice but to bank on the relationships with a handful of people who are willing to turn down the shot at $1 million.
Yeah.
It's rough. I think at this point, I don't think Mo has many options outside of like Gordon and the handful of other athletes who are unwilling to do the math, we'll say.
I found it so fascinating that you can tell how the culture has changed a little bit, where they go, would you guys like a 4th serving of Pena and Gordon? And we go, nah, I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm full. Thank you, though.
Right.
Is that what you guys are going to do? Oh, you're just going to do it. Okay. Well, I mean, sure. Sounds fun. I have other stuff I'm doing that day at that time, but like, we'll keep our eyes on it. Obviously. It's just, who's this
I'll
for?
check the highlights. Yeah.
And you know what? I was going to put this. Go ahead, Tim. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
It's just like, I think it's a case of like the Cool Kids Club got so cool that nobody wanted to be in it anymore. It got so exclusive and so cool that it was like not very cool. And now there's just a handful of dudes that seem to have any kind of relationship or connection, and everybody circled their wagons. And it's like, dude, who wants to be stuck in that? What ADCC should be doing is building those stars. Like Yuri Samoas is a star, dude. He's a bona fide star. They should be building those guys up and making a huge ordeal about them, but they're just kind of dropping the ball and doubling down on, well, this worked for the last 5 years, so let's just run with this. So,
Tim, to kind of see your idea out a little bit more, it's not just that they were the former Cool Kids Club or that they maybe are losing a little bit of their appeal. It's the fact that they're actively going out near the locker areas and being like, we're still cool. Right?
Yeah.
Right, nerd? We're cool. Look at us. Tell us we're cool. Tell us how great we are. You're coming, right? You got tickets? I know you did. You're coming, though, right? We're cool. Don't forget that.
If you don't have tickets, you're a loser. If you're not trying to be a part of this, it's because you're a dork and you're disloyal and you don't understand how prestigious we are.
It's so funny. I still love disloyal. You know what, dude? It's essentially the part. If you listen to the Chris Brown song, these hoes ain't loyal. Now, listen, I hear you, Chris Brown, but maybe these hoes would be a little bit more loyal if you stopped calling them hoes. Now, maybe they were hoes, but my first thought was always, yo, if you call me a hoe, I'm not going to be loyal to you. Fuck out of here. So every time I heard him be like, these hoes ain't loyal, I was like, stop dating hoes. I don't know. That could be the issue here, Chris Brown.
Look inward, Mo.
Inward Mo. I don't know, man. We're going to move to our next topic, but as it is, I did want to say this. We're going to come back to Pena and Gordon for a separate reason a little bit later in the show, but I do think that was a great exploration as to the overall scene. We move now to our next topic, which is STACHE. Well, if you guys were paying attention, and I hope you were, there were some main characters at play at Main Character Jiu-Jitsu. Not only were the matches exciting and a lot of anticipation was built toward it, but you had two very wonderful individuals in Ben Eddy and Officer Grimy himself offering to shave off their facial hair if they lost the match. In a stipulation that was reminiscent of pro wrestling, I asked both of you, before we get into a little bit of a discussion over Main Character Jiu-Jitsu, what other stipulations would you like to see? Tim, I'll start with you.
Listen, I'm going to say this first. I like Benetti. I'm a big Benetti fan. I think the world needs more Benettis. I love talking to that guy. I love the way he approaches jiu-jitsu. I don't care if you don't like it. I love it. However, I do not want to see Benetti without a mustache. I don't want to see it. And if you see it, you're gonna be freaked out, man. It's got some serious killer vibes going on there. But stipulations wise, I love, just like you do, Raf, I love the pro wrestling angle. Here's what I'm thinking. The luchas would unmask you. That was the big thing, man. Everyone wears a mask, and if they beat you, it takes them 20 minutes to untie the laces in the back, and then eventually they pull it off, and someone throws a towel in the ring, and your opponent covers his head in shame. Okay, how about when you lose, we put a mask on you so we don't have to see your loser face anymore. You don't get to take the mask off until you get a win. When you get back in the W column, we'll have a ceremony, and we'll rip that thing off. We'll get to show your face again.
Can I make one note here? Depending on their anti-vax stances, I think you should put like an actual surgical mask over them and be like, the CDC said this is for you, bitch. And they're just like, no, this doesn't work. Everyone knows this is scientifically proven. No, it's a cloth mask too. No. So I think that could be a very funny stipulation. Kevin, do you have a stipulation that you're a pretty heavy competitor, but is there ever one that crossed your mind that you thought, man, it would be kind of fun to wager that?
Yeah, I want to see a bet match where the winner gets access to the loser's stack. So I'm going to fight the juiciest guy I can find from the teams you guys are all thinking of. And then if I win, I get access to your pharmacist. You know what I'm saying? And I want to see that become a thing, a standard across jiu-jitsu. Don't clean up jiu-jitsu. Just work your way to the top of the chemical ladder. You know what I mean?
Stack match.
Then stack match for sure. We just swap out stacks the whole way. You get to see it change. Yeah.
I want to ask this as a follow-up. But is this just because your stack isn't good enough and you're trying to expand your horizons and that you're like, you know what? Can I see what you got over there? Well, how are you doing this? Oh, you know what? Yeah. I've been doing it wrong the whole way. I'm going to do this now.
I want an excuse to take it. I mean, we're like, well, if you win the belt, you put the belt on, right? Like, I can't not put the belt on. I won this stack. That's my plausible deniability, is if I get access to their stack, I have to take it. Those are the rules of the game. Sorry,
in the similar way that they made them, because we did, I forgot we had a highlight package here, so my apologies to everybody. But I do like the idea of let me hear it out as I'm playing this footage. But we're workshopping this here, people, so I might not be 100% on point. I just like the idea that as people are doing this, when the haircut was happening, look at these highlights. A nice little takedown here by Officer Grimy, who then gets the win. I believe it was by decision. And then a little bit afterwards, they start getting to the presentation. And of course, there's the boss man himself, Brandon McCatherine, making things official. Now
I like that they brought the barber robe.
You got to, dude, because that's going to get on the mats, and I don't want that shit on my mats. And what is these torn, like, jeans shorts that he's wearing right there?
Benetti's rocking torn gi pants. Yeah.
Why is he wearing torn gi pants?
Because he can, man. He can.
Oh my goodness. And I do love the idea of him like wincing, like someone's putting a knife.
Look at him. Oh my God. He looks like Dave Mustaine from Megadeth now. He's no longer Benetti, dude. He's turned into Dave Mustaine.
They should go double it up into the hair.
By the way,
wow.
I like this. Tim is the man. His shirt is Nashville. Oh, that's amazing.
Hey, gracias,
what is up,
amigo?
Food Origins podcast. You guys have both good ideas. I like it. The only thing I'm going to go ahead and present as a little bit of an add-on to your idea here, Kevin, is I think that you have to take the steroids in front of us. Like, just the way they put him in that barber chair, we have to like strap them up. And really, to put on a good save a face for the IBJJF, you have to be like, no, Don't you do it. I'm a clean athlete. Wink.
Yeah.
Oh, that feels good. You know what? It's a little different. I mean, I've never done this before. I'm a huge fan of pro wrestling in the sense that sometimes when I have other pro wrestling fans and we have a jiu-jitsu match going on, we don't accept taps. It's only an I quit match. So it's like, no, I quit. So that's kind of funny and stupid. But I think I want to take your idea one step further, Kevin. There's a gimmick match in pro wrestling called blank on a pole match, which means they essentially put like the title or like a weapon on a pole and they have to climb and get it. And the first person who gets it gets to use it. So I feel like steroids on a pole or stack on a pole is the right way to go, because you get it and you're like, oh man, Mario Brothers, womp, 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 and then see what happens after that. And if you end up winning the match from there. So I think we've collectively made the next main character jiu-jitsu main event. So good job here, team. Yeah. Our work here is done. We move on to the next one, which is, this is very interesting, and I don't know how many people are aware of this, but the UWW, the United Wrestling whatever, they do an organization where they actually bring on a grappling trials team so that these individuals will later go to a foreign destination. I don't know which one. Let's just say Kazakhstan, because it sometimes is.
That is where they're going.
Oh, is it really? Did I get that right?
Yes.
Shit, my news information on this is way old. So I'm like, I don't know, Burkistan? Listen, dude, I'm not smart. So they're going to Kazakhstan, and we have selected some very, very good individuals who won the trials process, and many of whom include friends like Alex Enriquez and more people. So I'm going to give it to you guys. Tim, who were some of those notables who were able to take home some of those bids to represent the country?
Yeah, man. So, the United World Wrestling, it's been around for a while, and it's an international event. It attracts top tier athletes from Russia, the United States, Brazil, a bunch of European countries. It sounds like a prestigious international grappling event. It has no gi and gi. And when you talk about prestige and amateur, this actually fits the bill quite well. And they do a pretty good job. So they have 21 men and women from the American team are going. And there's a few notables, a few folks you'll recognize their names, like Kendall Rusing. She won the under 90 kilograms. One of my homies back from California, Elliot Kelly, will be representing Sam Schwarzenfeld. He is a peer 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu teammate who has an amazing highlight right now on Instagram. You may have seen it, where he just kind of like bully hip tosses this dude and keeps the underhook and spins around and hits an arm bar and just like walks off the mat like, hey, what do you expect? And it's pretty dope. You should check it out if you haven't seen it. Ray DeLeon from 10th Planet New York City will be representing. And also the main one I want to throw out is 10th Planet Stockton's own Bree Stick has won it for the under 53 kilograms for the girls. So she'll be representing the United States. We're super happy for her and stoked that one of our own was able to do that. So overall, I think that's a dope thing. Like, if you want to get behind something that feels like the Olympics of jiu-jitsu, you should get into the United World Wrestling stuff and check it out. It's an international event, and it's been going on for a long time. Just not everybody has eyes on it for whatever reason. We need to get more eyeballs on it. So good stuff, man.
That I used to tell their organizer was, I said, oh, it's like we're sending the Mighty Ducks, right? Like, this is the international Mighty Ducks that we're doing, right? Thank you for those notes. Very good observations. Big shout out there. And of course, our good friend Bougie Gatami puts in a very, very good observation where he says, Garmo won UWW as well. Garmo, good friend of the show. Super happy for him. What a beast. And I saw that dude was about to get powerbombed, and he's like, yeah, I was a little concerned here how this might go. But we ball. Now, Kevin, you happen to know, I believe Ardea has done this before, correct? And
Paul's been on it twice, and Sergio's been on it once. Been on.
That's what I was about to say. Like, those boys, those Ardea boys, this is very impressive for them. So did you ever get any good stories based off of their experiences off of that?
Nothing I can repeat on
Nope,
air.
then we're going to move on. Never mind. Womp womp. Okay.
Yeah.
Swing and a miss here,
They,
RAF ESPARZA.
Yeah,
It's
they
all
had
right.
some good matches, and they came back. If you've ever heard them, if you've ever heard one of your teammates come back from a tournament and tell stories about how those matches went, you kind of know the flavor of like everyone is trash and I hate them if they beat me, and if I beat them, they're trash and they should quit jujitsu. Not really. That's certainly an exaggeration of something Paul would say. Paul's a nice guy. Sergio probably said exactly that, but yeah. I have some funny stories that'll just ruin their public image. So
Yeah, it's tough because Paul has such a cultivated nice guy status that I thought, and I will say this again, when I was on my podcast appearance on My Jiu-Jitsu Academia, I correctly called a lot of the people that CJI did end up inheriting. And there was a part of me, because Paul was like, we shot messages back and forth, and I was like, bro, I want you to know I shouted you out. And he was like, thanks, man. I was like, yeah, I'd like to see my boy get paid. And this is before they didn't co-author something with him. It was just me being like, I want to see him get paid. And I think if you were to inherit him as a 4 times trials winner, it just continues to further the point of, like you've gotten those people and you've pulled the right guys. So I don't know that that is necessarily in the works, but I definitely wanted to make sure some shine was put on him. So at the very least, we will see Paradia at this upcoming ADCC. So I'm very stoked about that. But give him our best. We do love the Paul very much.
A genuinely nice human, super supportive guy, and he's got a ridiculous submission rate, a bunch of wins. I have no idea why that man hasn't been picked up by ADCC, Flow, or CJI, somebody, and they just run with that guy. Like,
you know what? I mean, here's the odd part I can tell you, just from my outside perspective. It might be a mixture of him not being thirsty. Like, he's clearly talented. That's not the issue. And he's clearly replicated the success multiple times. But sometimes it's a mix of, oh, do you want some attention? And people are like, yes, please. I would love it for some attention for my good jiu-jitsu. I think Paul just walks in his confidence and is like, hey, man, I'm pretty good. Do you want to do this? And they're like, I mean, only if you really want it. And he goes, I got to be a lawyer. I'm busy. Anyway, bye, guys. I got stuff to do. So he's not somebody I'm worried about. It's more so just, I'm sure you, like I, share a sense of, wouldn't you like to give some more love to that dude? Because he's pretty good. I think it makes sense, right? Yeah. Okay. I think we're all on the same page here. We're going to go to our next one. Oh, God. Yeah, this is where.
Get ready.
Okay, hold on. No, you did this. Don't act like you are like, oh, who would put this on there? This is 100% a Tim Freeman submission onto the show. But the reason why I'm ing is not just because I'm going to throw up, but because I have to do the host responsible thing. So what do I mean by the host responsible thing? Let me get to this first. All right, our next topic is Snap. Okay. Before we get to asking what this referee was doing, I need you guys all to know the following. This is a very graphic scene. Yes, many of you have seen the clip before, but it bears repeating if you are squeamish or you are not able to watch things get broken. We highly suggest that you skip this part, you look down, you cover your eyes, whatever it is you need to do to be prepared for this scene. I don't love this. Producer Raf says we have to do it. Host Raf, terrified of it. So, allow my schizophrenia to give you the warning that you need. But ladies and gents, you've been warned. I'm telling you now, get ready to vomit in your mouth. Allow me to narrate what's happening here. All right. So this was happening in some country. I don't know where. But these two gentlemen are grappling. And of course, a triangle is being thrown up here. Now, everything looks good. Okay, now this is where the armbar is happening. Now, we're going to go a little bit slow here. Now, if you know this position, you know things don't happen well in this position. A lot of us are probably already thinking about tapping. And yet, this gentleman here definitely right now realizes his fate's a little bit sealed. So you may notice, oh,
there's the tap.
Is that a tap? Are we in agreement here that's a tap? Kevin, do you believe that's a tap?
Yep, that's
a
tap.
grimace and a tap.
Okay, well, here we go. And I am getting out of the scene. 3, 2, 1, and okay. So not only does it happen, I don't love it. It's going over his arm. Oh God. Oh,
that's called a hyperextension.
Oh God. Oh no. And then it's the like jerk back.
Let me lift his legs. Let me be helpful. Let me lift his legs.
I want to be very clear. Not only does this dude have a convulsion back, but then we do the age old, let's lift the legs and bring him back to life. So I guess I'll start with you. Kevin, what was this referee doing?
Hopefully losing his job and getting kicked out of his gym and getting stripped of any rank or anything he has. I feel nothing but rage for that referee. He's probably not going to see this because he's in the Netherlands, but I hope he does, and he should feel bad. He should feel real bad. Yeah, every time I see that, I just feel nothing but rage, man. Like, I've seen that clip 3 or 4 times, and every time I'm like, man, you can't even do anything about it. In my head, I'm like, oh, man, if I'm on the side of the mat, I'll come running when I see the tap and break it all up or whatever. If I'm the coach, you're in a cage. You need to be able to trust the referee. That's his job. The guy's in a triangle. I don't know what to tell you, man. Like, I don't know where they found this ref, but send him back.
Thank you for that. Tim, before I let you respond to this, okay, I'm not trying to blame this. We're not victim blames here. But, like, that dude tapped once. And I don't know about you as an instructor. Every one of us here is an instructor. But do you not coach your guys to be like, hey, we need to tap multiple times? Is there not just a little bit of like, hey, bud, especially in competition, we, especially in this position, cannot just depend on the, nah, bro, you got this. You good. You get, oh, nope. Yeah. No. Why is that going? No, sir. No, sir. I said I tap. Like, is there any kind of other brunt responsibility we can talk about? Now I'll give you a response.
Yeah, I mean, look, this was Rene Handel against Sven Greton, and Sven is the dude that gets busted up here. No disrespect to him, but you got to tap more than once. That's all. That's a given. It's got to be at least a tap, and if it's urgent, you got to say tap while you do the tap. Now, I think he went out after the first tap. And I think that's why his arm got rubber armed, that did not look good. And I don't think that, Rene was trying to bend his arm back that far, but at a certain point, you got to be able to look at that as the attacker and go like, this is not good. Like, I don't need this to, compound fracture and have a lava gravy come out of this dude's arm right now. Like, this is not safe. But listen, it's a dangerous sport. Dangerous stuff happens. And they talked to Cecil Peoples about this. He's a ref, an MMA ref, famed MMA ref. He didn't have a problem with it. He said he thought it was called clean. It was a standard performance.
Right,
I don't know who this ref
hold
is.
On. Camera's off you now. You've lost full camera responsibility and privileges.
No, I do have one thing, though. I do have something real. Can I share it just real quick? Is that the dude that got his arm jacked up, Sven, he did give an update for real. And he said, so that sucked. I got choked out. My elbow dislocated. No bone damage. More info to come. No blame on my opponent. You were better than me yesterday. I'll crush you next time we compete. That's a promise. So obviously he's not too rough for wear, but man, it did not look good. Sorry. Go ahead.
The rest of
Take
us
it off
aren't there. The rest of us still have issues here. Listen, dude, I have filed a lawsuit from just watching that and the amount of times I've had to ingest it. Okay, yes, we did talk about that, but I do love the idea. I did logically put it in my head where I go, I think he's going out, and that's not great. But could you imagine, though, this is happening. You go, all right, well, I'm about to go out, and okay, out. And then you wake up, and somebody's like, huh? What's that? Oh my God, wait. Like you essentially have 15 different reactions that you have, which is, man, why are they raising my, oh, I probably went out, didn't I? Well, it's a good thing I'll stand. Oh, that don't work no more. Okay.
So I've done this.
No.
Of course you have. Of course you
Kevin,
have.
Hold on.
That explains everything.
You know what? I didn't know we were putting you on trial. Why did you do this, and how did you do this?
I've done the go out and wake up with a broken limb. When I was a kid,
you've been the victim.
Victim strong. I'm dumb. I was doing flips on a trampoline. I go off, land, hit my head, and while I'm going, my arms are out, right? So I hit my head. I see the last thing I remember, ground rushing up at me. I wake up with a bunch of people staring at me, and I go to wave them off and tell them, hey, man, I'm good. I'm fine. And my elbow's backwards.
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have a scar from here to here where I went to wave, and my realization that my arm was broken was it was facing this way.
You're a 6 now.
It's not fun.
Yeah.
I like that he said you're a 6 now. Like you had a great thing until you realized, you know what? Oh, that's some artificial. He's got those scars. Nah, man.
That arm's not real.
He's going down in my rating system. I have to point this out, Kevin. The amount of things that we learn about you by proxy. Like I never set out to know that you went out at a tournament once, and I thought that's where the story was maybe going, and instead, no, there's a different story of you going out. So do us the due diligence here, because it's made the waves a few other places. What happened to you where you went out and still won a tournament?
Okay. I was debating which story to tell on this one because long and short, right? I needed to get my brown belt. Sergio and Paul Ardea and Ernesto Rivera, the guys overseeing my belt promotions. Sergio grabs me and goes, cool, there's a tournament in Nashville. Really good guy in this tournament. If you beat that dude, you get your brown belt. I'm a purple belt at the time. I'm like, perfect. We hop in the car. We head that way. Point me at him. Let's go. I have that match. Match is real brutal. Really good match. We go to overtimes. This dude's a pretty well-known, pretty successful black belt. We go to overtimes. Now, he put me in an arm triangle in the match, and I feel like escape times are going to matter. So I'm like, perfect. I'm going to feed him the arm triangle, escape that, boom, I'm out, right? I feed him the arm triangle as I'm rotating out, and I'm just thinking, all right, I got to get this arm across. That's it. Arm gets across. I'm out. And then I wake up. And Paul's standing over me. My first thought is like, why are all these people yelling? I'm just having a chill. If you've never gone out, this is the first time I ever went out. And I was like, first and only. That, a concussion doesn't count, right? And, I'm like, man, I'm having a great nap. I'm chilling. Why are all these people yelling at me? I open my eyes. Paul's standing over me, and he goes, hey, man, you went out. And I just go, fuck, it's going to be a long ride home. I get up and go to walk off the mat. Sergio stops me, and he goes, nah, man, it's EBI overtimes. That was the top. You get a chance to submit him faster. And I go, oh, bet. I walk back to the middle, hop on his back. I was asleep 30 seconds ago. And immediately get the tap, slap on a rear naked choke. I think I got it in like 24 seconds. Submit him, get my brown belt. Top blows off the place. It was the craziest grappling match I've ever been a part of in my life, and that's an accomplishment. I didn't know that was a thing that happened, that you could go to sleep and still technically win a match, but here we are.
I will say I did tell you this, which is if I was the other team's coach, I would have 100% gone to the organizer and been like, he went to sleep, he forfeits. That means he out. And then I realized that I would have been up against not one, but two black belt lawyers who would have been like, Your Honor, we'd like to present our case. Now, Kevin is special already, so he's already of sound space and mind. Is it really any different if he took a short siesta and came back? No. I tell you, he was conserving his energy. That's his low power mode. So I realized, I was like, yeah, I don't know I'm going to win this one either. So there was a no-win situation for that dude. But I will tell you, in most situations, I feel like if you're the guy that puts the other guy to sleep, you're like, this is a wrap. I won this.
Yeah.
So that dude,
Yeah,
you talk about a rough ride home. That dude had to go home and be like what? No.
He
I can't logically happen.
Wanted to fight me after I got the tap. He won 100%. Like I got the rear naked choke. His hand came up to tap, and he didn't want to, so I kicked my legs out from the hooks and really sent it. And it just suddenly he's tapping furiously. I wait until the ref grabs me to let go because I have to.
Yeah.
I let him go. He turns around and immediately shoves me. And I was like, that's fair. I'd be pissed as hell if I was you.
Yeah. Like, rightly so, man.
I would say
he put me to sleep and somehow lost. That's a quiet ride home.
Damn.
It's all right, man. You know what it was, though? If that was the case, you would have just been highlight reeled and being like, nothing else happened. Sorry, guys. I won that. I mean, clearly I won it, right? Nothing else happened.
I would have put that up. Just me putting you to sleep over and over again.
Yeah.
Well, I'm glad we covered that. I will say it was very traumatic. I'm glad, Tim, thank you for doing the investigative reporting on that. The only thing that you did that kind of upset me in your summary is that you gave them names. Now, I don't know if you really get what I do as a reporter here, but I don't give them names because it's like when you have dogs and you go like, no, now I care. Like now, once you've named them, they become real people to you. And now I know the dude's name who got his arm broken, and I feel like we're closer, and now I feel like a shitty friend for showing that footage. So how dare you, sir, for having the right journalistic integrity, just the wrong show to do it on.
Got to get you in the feels, man.
I don't like it, man. Listen, when they're nameless people, I'm always like, oh, this Jamoke. Something bad happened to him. It's like, oh, that's Ned.
Part of the NAS training is they make them carry a chicken for take care of a chicken, and they got to name it. And then
that's what I'm saying. Don't name them. Like once he hit the name in the description of who they were, I was like, oh, yeah. I'm fucked now. Now I'm like, it's really hitting me in the feels like a fucking Disney movie. Gents, we have two more things to do before we call it a day. The first is roll. So we're talking about the latest additions to CJI and ADCC. Of course, Kyle Bain was named. We had Pat Downey named. And we also had, I'm sorry, Tim, you told me there was another name and I am forgetting it right now.
I think
Who else did we
Pedro
add?
Alex.
We did just add that one as well. So of those, what has stuck out to you the most? And we'll start over with you, Tim.
Well, I mean, I'm always interested to see Pat Downey out there. I think he mixes it up a little bit. He brings a little bit of a different style to the table. And he also kind of attracts a little bit of a different crowd potentially, get some new eyeballs on it. So I'm down with that. I think that's a good move by him. And I think also it kind of like prohibits maybe a competitor for pulling him in at the same time. Kyle Bain, I think is a no-brainer. I would think both of those organizations would want him. He's a controversial guy, pisses a lot of people off, but he's always up there in the top 10. He's just pretty reliable when it comes to like showing up and putting on good matches. And he's a tough out. Like he's not an easy dude to get past. So I think great additions on the CJI side. On the ADCC side, the two names I saw, and I might be out of touch with this, but I saw Gary Tonin on the list. I didn't know if that was a late invite or if he was already invited. And then I think we see Majid Gorilla Hands Haig is jumping in now. So he's also got the invite. So that'll be interesting to see. There's still a couple names out there. John Thor is not been picked up yet. That'd be interesting to see if somebody makes a call to him. He's probably the right size to get in there. He's got some good experience too. So, it's kind of neat to see the last efforts of, who's going to side up with who. And we're also starting to see guys try to get alternate spots. Like, hey, if I can't get one of those top places, like, throw my name in the hat for an alternate, because sometimes guys drop out, people get hurt, life happens, they can't do it. And you could slide in as an alternate and still do well. So that's what I got for now, man.
Thank you for that. Kevin, was there any of those that kind of stuck out to you, or even before, because this is your first time on this show, were there any steals or additions that stuck out to you?
Steals and additions, I think anytime, just covering all of the people who have moved to CJI, I think if you're going to ADCC and your primary game is not wrestling, you need to make the move to CJI. You need to hustle over. Because as far as I know, they're not penalizing guard pulling in that rule set. So that's your route, man. In general, that's my sentiments. Specifically, BAME is a great pickup. Majid Haig coming in as well is solid. He's still riding a lot of hype from the last circuit, where he made a lot of noise. The only one that's blowing my mind still are not actually the pickups. It's the guys who have turned down invites to CJI. I am still blown away that Fabricio Andre turned down CJI. I don't know how much money he had to get from Mo under the table in order to make that math. But it had to be significant.
It does raise a few questions. And I mean, sure, there's a lot we don't know. So people talk about under the table money. The weird part about reporting on under the table money is none of us know what the fuck we're really talking about on that. So it's very hard to pinpoint it. But the idea of if you are accepting under the table money, you're essentially signing an NDA. So, okay. What I would say is this. The latest addition on the ADCC to me was strangely the super fight between Pena and Gordon. And we already mentioned it from a standpoint of competitiveness. But I want to bring up the one that really strikes out to me, which is it's for a medal? Like, yeah. Is this counting towards Gordon Ryan's super fight medals? Is he counting this like a world championship? Now, granted, Pena, very accomplished, has won at ADCC. It just feels like an unnecessary addition. And I want to point this out. This is not my thought. Somebody in the Discord for the Craig Jones Invitational actually put up this thought. And I can't take full credit for it. But this is from a gentleman by the name of Failed Darce. And it says, it's also hilarious that ADC's whole argument is prestige and then drives down their only stock by giving out medals for random super fights. I have to say, as much of a shit post as that is intended of being, it is right on the money, which is, guys, how are you managing being the prestige tournament when you're doing random who's in the audience, let's just make some shit happen. If you're doing that super fight, which is a grudge match, just do it as a grudge match, one-off, so that you can stroke Gordon Ryan's ego. But for the rest of us, no one asked for this. No one wanted it. And the fact that you have it as an appeal, as a counter-programming appeal, shows that you are kind of acting from a place of second position. I cannot say this enough. I feel like a broken record. Run your tournament. Stop trying to compete with them. Be the tournament. Be confident in what you do. All of these reactionary things seem like you guys are under the gun and stressed about people maybe wanting to go somewhere else or whatever, or have diverted attention. You're adding extra special matches. Because guess what? If you're ADCC, I will tell you this. We're probably not far off from a hair versus hair match happening there very soon. And you know what? Sometimes they're just exciting for funsies to do on the side. So there's nothing wrong with that. Just stop being dumb. Brandon McCatherine says the best CJI pickup was very clearly Brandon McCatherine. And actually, he's not kidding on that one. That's a very solid one.
Gangster move. Solid. Strong move.
Brandon McCatherine is being the United States representation. You got some other foreigners handling this one between Hal Teague and one Josh Palmer. As we like to say, the foreign version of me that's way, way better with the voice. So how dare that guy? You know what? I've been saying this for a decade now. This dude is taking all the jobs. So can we deport him? I think it's time. Like, legitimately, you can have Polaris, Josh Palmer, but stop coming over here and taking our jobs. Go back over there, wherever you're from. Across the pond.
Take Kieran with you.
You know what I want to see out of that grudge match? Especially if we're doing it for a medal, I don't want them to do jiu-jitsu. I want a cheeseburger eating contest.
I
want to see how bad Gordon really wants to beat Penna.
He's like, my tummy hurts, but I'm going to have another.
But we know what Gordon's doing to himself. How bad do you really want it, Gordon?
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? That's probably the best. You really are an Art of War fan, because if you do that to him on the Saturday, on the Sunday, you do set him up on a platter for Yuri. So Gordon being there, like, how many has Pena eaten? Oh, okay. Well, I'm just I will beat him. Oh, tummy hurt. Ow. Ow. Can you do tomorrow?
Pena just staring him in the face, eating slowly.
You know what it is? It almost feels like the season finale of when, like, everybody goes up against Doomsday and everybody contributes their one superpower to try and take down the big bad. And they're like, oh, it's Thanos. Let's everybody combine superpower rings. I do like this, though. BMX says, how funny is my redneck voice going to be in the booth with those two? I don't know. It blends nicely, I have to say.
Yeah.
Like, Palmer, as much as I love giving my buddy credit and shit, when I hear Palmer's voice, it's so calming and soothing, and he is a very, like, even keel disposition, even in the most crazy and stupid sport. And Hal Teague, you know, he's coming back, so we'll see. It's interesting to see that group again, but I do know the one thing you do have to take into consideration here is Craig is a foreigner in the United States. He feels very much like one of us here in the States because of his pettiness, but
yeah,
from a standpoint as a foreigner, he's giving foreigners jobs here in the States. So I do have to commend that, where I'm like, you know what? I guess it is kind of funny that he's giving people those jobs, because I'm pretty sure he's annoyed by having Americans always do the jobs for the ones he's taken. So in that part, that's fine. I'm just saying, hire us.
Brandon, you are the best man in that booth. In my opinion, what the fuck is a kilometer, you know? America.
Good. Got him. There we go.
Baby.
All right, guys, we're now approaching the last discussion topic, which is the gallery unto itself. So we do have a few notes here, but Tim, I wanted to start this one off before I bring on the ones that Kevin has found here. But I think this is one that you will be very entertained by. I know I was. This appeared on my social media. This was on last week or a couple weeks ago. I put up a little editorial, and this comment had me dying. It says, ADCC isn't for the viewers online. It's for the people who purchase a ticket, show up, and take a seat. Awesome. My response to that is as follows. You know, it's really a shame that the Super Bowl only plays to those people in the audience. And it's a shame that we never knew oh, wait, we all know it because it's aired on every fucking channel possible. Yes, they put it on TV. It's not just for the people who go and watch it live. When you go to the Super Bowl, you are one of the people who sees it live, while people at home get to experience that same vibe. It's like telling Dana White, you know what? This is a really good fight. You're right. We should have Yuri and we should have Potan go against each other and not tell anybody about it. For whatever reason, even if you are being super silly and facetious, this comment is ridiculous. So I'm just saying at this point, I hope you're like us and that you are saying this ironically, But at the same point, I don't want you guys to feel like we should just be saying dumb shit for no reason. We need an ironic voice or like an irony button that you guys can put at the very end that just lets you know you're on our side. Because the last dude that we talked about, Tim, I don't know if you forgot about person that you make no money, people first. When he showed up, he's like, no, I'm on your side. I was like, well, it didn't sound like it, dude. So anyway.
/S, guys. If you've ever been on Reddit, /S means sarcasm.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. See, this is
why
we bring you on, sir. Like, you keeping us up to date with what the kids are up to is a very important thing here. But Tim, do you have anything as a response to this one at all?
Yeah, I think we found Mo's troll account. Obviously, you know, he's like, guys, it's important. Show up, take a seat. It's your patriotic duty to support these athletes at ADCC, T-Mobile Arena, sold out. Show up, biggest show in town. Come on. Yeah, I think they're just riding hard with that. Obviously, it's working for the bots out there on the internet. Who knows, man? No, it's 100% for the people at home watching. Like, the live gate is, especially for jiu-jitsu, it's not even close. Like, we make a big deal if we see a section filled up. It's all about the people at home watching, and they're going to make a choice. People who bought a ticket to ADCC are going to stay the fuck home now, and they're going to watch it online so they can watch CJI. That's what's going to happen. So I don't know.
Well, I'm glad you bring that up. We go now to our next comment, which is you found this one, Kevin. So walk us through this one, sir.
Oh, no. Yeah, if you guys, going back to the WNO, if you guys didn't see, Gordon Ryan's girlfriend, aka I just love Nikki Ryan's brother's girlfriend, was on WNO, and she did not have a good performance. And because of her adjacency to somebody that talks that massive amount of shit, she is getting dragged for it. And I think that's fair. Love and war or whatever, but also she's got to be profiting. If you profit and you get the opportunity and it doesn't work out for you, you have to know the consequences, and these are them.
Yeah,
that's a rough one, man.
Yeah, it's a weird space to be in because I don't have a full way of how it goes. I do have people who get into my comment section, and sometimes, I don't know, people were so eager to see the result that did happen that they were messaging me and being like, good, huh? And I go, I listen, there's no part of my site that really has ever spent time being like, fuck her. I try to be like, she's her own entity, you know, like, I just try to take people at their base of what their words, and like Gordon makes it very easy. So it's very like, oh, he said this is kind of silly because X or Y or Z. I also admittedly do not follow her stuff very often. As an
athlete, and yeah, same. I have no strong opinions about many of the athletes who I participate shit talk around. As an athlete, as a competitor, if you guys are going to do this, success means gaining a larger platform for the most part. And the higher you climb up, the more people are going to try and tear you down. It is part of the business. Early on, while you're learning submission defense, also develop a little bit of thick skin. That's going to serve you just as well, probably better, learning to be a little bit resilient, because there will never not be haters. You got to learn to enjoy that part of it too. It can be hilarious if you let it.
This is coming from the guy who basically was gifted every day in the comment section that they were a staller at a very good competition where they're like, this dude sucks because stall. And I'm like, I'm going to be honest with you. If I have a match with Andy Varela, it is going to be the stall Olympics. Like, I need to slow that dude's momentum down in a way that I am not capable of doing it. Now, I have to say this. It does note, and it says, Tim is right. I have ADCC tickets, and I will be staying home to watch CJI. Noted. Thank you, Wallow. BMAC is trying to, of course, be the nice guy here. And, we lost Tim here for a second. Good news. He has found his way back in. Tim, are you okay?
Yeah, man. I don't know what happened, dude.
I don't know. You had to go away for a second, but we got you back. No, we lost him again. All right. I'm just going to read this while we wait for Tim to call back in. It says, I don't like that everyone is dragging her. I don't think it's fair.
Can y'all hear me?
I do hear you, but I don't see
even
you.
better.
Now there's just a voice of God happening. Tim, what happened to you? Where are you?
Solid. You should leave it like this.
I kind of like, I'm actually in the board now. Like you guys have seen Tron when he goes into the video game. I'm actually in the board right now. So I'm just going to speak to you as the voice of the board.
Tim, what happened to your video? What happened?
I don't know, man. Listen, it's tricky when you bring somebody's other into the game. And it's a tricky game Gordon Ryan's bringing, but he kind of brought it on himself. However, to take a shot at her is really low-hanging fruit and easy to do, and the internet's going to do it, but it's not the classy thing to do. The classy thing to do is take the shot at Gordon because Gordon deserves it, and he's in the game at a high level. But, yeah, you know, hey, man, that's how it goes. If anybody goes out there and takes a spot on a card like that, people are trying to get on those cards, it's a big freaking deal, then people are going to talk shit about your jiu-jitsu. And if you're, you know, adjacent to Gordon Ryan, that's a good way to put it, then you're going to get a little extra heat. That's just how it goes.
I do feel like what ends up happening is they don't feel like they can get to Gordon, so then they get to her, and they feel like that's getting Gordon as a result of it. It's difficult because there is a story online that people have essentially accepted as fact. And I don't know that any of us really know what are facts and are not facts. So it's very difficult to kind of blend those things together. So what ends up happening is people share very strong opinions about that. And as a result of it, I think that's where I think she gets a lot of hate from. And I honestly, I don't know. But if you take it from Brandon's perspective, which is just isolated, it does seem a little weird. Like if you were to take all of that aside and just look at the isolated incident of she competed, she got caught, and yeah, that sucks. But I think as Kevin was mentioning, she was taking a spot on a very prominent card, so that kind of puts her in a certain limelight. So yeah, it's very dicey. I don't know that I love it.
I think both these things can't exist. One, I don't think it's fair at all. I agree with Brandon. I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's classy, like Tim said. I don't think it's good. Let's acknowledge that, and then also acknowledge the reality that we are never going to exist in a place where it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
If you put yourself out there and are willing to compete, you can go to a Naga, not even a big platform like WNO. You can go to a Naga and you'll get dragged if you look bad. The people in your local community will have something to say about it. People are, by and large, the people in comment sections, by and large, not the classiest individuals. It can happen, but by and large, not. You have to embrace the reality of that and the fact that it's going to happen if you don't want this thing to drive you insane. I don't think it's fair, but I also think it's always gonna happen.
Yeah, well, it's a weird thing to do, but I will tell you this. It is perhaps less of a bad comment than the one that you sent me. That is, I believe, our final comment. I did have it preloaded here, and I'm not sure if it is coming up, but let's see here. Okay, that was the one that we just did. I thought there was another one, but maybe I have to redrag it onto here, and you'll see it happen in real time. But here's what it is. So,
wow.
This is where the storyline is merging. So this is what I was talking about a little bit earlier, which is I think it's difficult because there is stuff that we don't know, and it's become a story that has also been marketed at us. So I would tell you this. I think jokes happen. I'm never going to tell anybody how to do their jokes. I just feel like it is hard to accept some of these jokes because I'm like, none of us can prove any of this. So as a result of it, we're just kind of all believing a storyline that could not be true, but I think that a lot of people want to be true. So it is difficult to be in that position, but having said that, sometimes they are worded very well. So it is hard to look away when you're like, damn, that was written really, really well. And especially when they are videos that make light of the situation in ways that I go, yeah, that was done really, really well. God damn, these people are very good at what they do.
Man, there's rash guards that are making light of the situation. Like, it's very much so out there.
So this is the one thing that I will say. I think there is a intelligence in knowing that if the story is out there, that there is a way to market to the people who are thirsty for good stories. So that's the part that I'm having a hard time doing. It's not to say that it didn't happen or I know anything. I don't. And that's why it's so like, I don't know about you guys, but I think there's a nervous laughter of like, right? Isn't that crazy? Did that happen? Did that, like, are we talking about the same thing? Because that seems really weird. If it did happen, that's really fucking dark. We're just gonna laugh about it, right? So I think that's where people come from on it, and that's why whenever people present that to us, they're like, "So you don't know the story?" And I'm like, "What story?" And they tell you, and you go, "Uh huh." Like, well, it happened. And I go, I don't know, and I don't want to be the person who's a host that goes, "Well, that definitely happened, guys."
Yeah.
Until somebody
Guess
goes
what?
on record with it, very difficult to prove.
Yeah. I have a very, like, the exact same thing when people ask me, oh, did you hear what happened? Is how they always phrase it. And I have to do the exact same, what happened? And it's like, I want you to tell me your understanding of this sequence of events. Because as long as you're telling me this thing, you won't believe I'm not stating it as fact. I'm very careful around, like, we've all heard these rumors. I mean, we're literally tiptoeing around it right now. This is how the conversation happens when people bring it up, where I'm like, I need to acknowledge that none of us were in the room, right? Cool? Okay. And then we have a very nervous laughter conversation about, like, this is crazy.
I also feel like we're a down and dirty sport where a lot of people have dark senses of humor. So they're like, I don't care if it's true. I'm just going to do the joke. And you go, all right, well, sounds good, everybody. Yeah. Last couple notes here. And this was Brandon basically saying Kevin's not necessarily wrong, but they are dragging her because she lost. Mostly it's because she's Gordon's girl. And that's kind of what I covered as well, which is if you feel like you can't get Gordon, you can get her. And I feel like that's the part that feels a little unfair. But also, yeah, it's a tough nugget to kind of go toward because at the same point, what reason does anybody have to hate anybody on these shows? And yet they do. It just kind of comes with the territory. Like sometimes people just wear the wrong rash guard and they're like, fuck that guy. I don't even know what his deal is. And you're like, dude, that guy's a really nice dude. It's like, yeah, I don't like the way, what is that? LXB?
I don't like
that dude.
I don't like his lycra. Yeah.
I don't like his lycra. I don't like his color scheme. And finally, Food Origins podcast says, Tim was cooking some chicken.
Oh, and I disappeared. Nochi. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's my favorite dish. It's a great dish.
Is that your favorite dish?
Okay. Oh, man. It's so damn good. Yeah.
Good for you, sir.
Italians know how to do it right.
I mean, very much so. Gentlemen, we have reached the end of the board. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you guys the opportunity to plug what you need to plug. Tim, you should start us off. Tell the people where they can find you and what's coming up next on Inside BJJ.
Okay, let's go. First off, check out Food Origins podcast. That's my boy Dave Sands. He's a black belt in jiu-jitsu. He's a really good dude. Outside of that, you could find me on Inside BJJ, every social media platform, I guess, that you could think of, except for TikTok, because that's un-American, so I'm not on that for now. Outside of that, man, if you're out in Stockton, you could check out my school out there, 10th Planet Stockton. Check out the homies in the 209. And if you're out in Nashville, please come visit us at 10th Planet Nashville. We'd love to have you. Man, I don't know, man. Just looking to do a lot of cool stuff. You could listen to the podcast Inside BJJ. I think we're trying to go live with BMAC tonight if we could pull it off. So that's what we got in store, Raf. Thank you for having me on. Kevin, it was a blessing. I think overall after this experience, I'm going to bump you back up to a 7. I did knock you down to a 6 for your elbow thing, but I can look past that. I'm a big man, and I can look past it. All right. So I'm going to put you back at an office 7, dog. Good job, man. And it was a pleasure spending time with you today talking about jiu-jitsu, brother.
It was a blast, man.
Kevin, let's have you plug your stuff. Where can people find you, train with you, get privates with you, etc.?
Yep. So at Kevin Grapples on Instagram, go and grab me. I coach at American Top Team Lima. I train at the other American Top teams in the Atlanta area. They're great. Superfly, ATT Atlanta, and ATT Sandy Springs, as well as Jiu Jitsu in Alpharetta. Rio Camp BJJ is a trip me and the homies are putting on. There's a little jiu-jitsu camp, nice little globetrotter. We're going to go out to Rio, train for a week, and as well as enjoy Brazil. Go check that out. I think there's limited spots still available. I think it's pretty close to sold out if it's not sold out already. So don't wait. Go snag that spot. I'm doing a little mini seminar in Eclectic, Alabama this weekend. Pull up, kind of put it together last minute. Pull up. Information's on my Instagram. Last thing is I'm going to do a limited run of Not Bad Combat. That's my team. Not Bad Combat rash guards. I'm going to drop the design, do the pre-sale, and send them out with a super quick turnaround. So go follow me at Kevin Grapples on Instagram so that you can get in on that real fast. Once they're out there, they're out there. That's it. I'm not doing another run.
What a good plug at the end. Being like, go out there, but like, also, I'm not going to do anymore. So you better do it now, or else.
I'm going to do it. If you don't get on the pre-order, you're not getting them for cease and desist reasons. I got to get this thing turned around before the cease and desist heads my way.
I mean, I'm glad you got 2 really good lawyers to help you out on that if anything does happen. So I just say let it ride. Kevin, way to plug yourself into this. I do think this is one of the highest degrees of difficulty to do. I thought you acclimated yourself nicely. You presented some great stuff. And I have to say this, you set a good bar for people, not just on the presentation they saw here today. When I told you, you were like, hey man, I'll see you tomorrow. I was like, that is not how this works. You have to pitch the topics. Like, we don't just pull you on for no reason. You got to be able to pitch stuff as well. And you, like, literally within seconds, pitched 2 to 3 topics that were immediately integrated into the show. So kudos to you. And we look forward to seeing you back in the future, sir.
Yeah, man. It was an honor. It was a blast. Tons of fun.
Wonderful. Gents, before we sign on out, I'm going to go ahead and close this bitch on up. I'll talk to you both off air in a second, but thank you guys so much for watching. We appreciate you. My name is RAF ESPARZA. I host a show here called The Grappling Hour. I think you see it over on that side. It's at the top. That's me. I host that. It is weekly. You see new interviews all the time. Tomorrow, one is going up with Ryan Aiken, which I think you guys will like. He'll have a lot of explanation as to why he was picking ADCC over the Craig Jones Invitational. Plus, we get into his EBI most recent absolute win. I think you guys, again, will enjoy that one. So check that out. You can also like, comment, and subscribe if you don't know what you want to comment on. We will give you a prompt right now, which is, why do you think it is important to have a super fight, a second super fight at ADCC Day 1? You guys can tell me that in the comment section. Would love to hear your thoughts. Maybe you have the right thought. Maybe you have the wrong thought. I don't know what it is, but just tell me what it is. You guys can also follow Grappling Hour on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Go there. We appreciate the love. We're putting on all of our episodes. We're catching up on that. We're just about caught up, and I'm very stoked for that. Additionally, go to our Patreon, patreon.com/Grappling Hour. If you go there, you can find my content for $5 a month. You can see my interviews 30 days before anybody else, and for a few extra dollars, you can see extra bonus content that's not available anywhere else. So support me if you can. I really do appreciate it. There's even a free tier. I forget to mention that. I should mention that more often. There's a free tier, and it lets you know when all the interviews go up. So any way you can support, we do appreciate it and love it. Ladies and gents, that's going to do it for us here at the Bullpen. Thank you for sticking around with us. We will be back next week. Same time, same place, same lively discussion, and with another guest host. Stick around to find out who that's going to be. But we're very stoked to have you guys joining us. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.